Hi, my name's Phil. I like to talk about politics. And it feels a little bit like Groundhog Day. It seems I'm going to be discussing today what I also discuss tomorrow as events move on. So yesterday I was discussing the leaked and wholly unflattering memo produced by the British ambassador to the United States regarding Donald Trump's administration. Later on, President Trump said that he would no longer deal with the ambassador, Sir Kim Darroch. Now, this could be seen as effectively saying that the UK no longer has an ambassador to the US in some regards. For example, when a head of government wants to express dissatisfaction with the behaviour of another nation, one typical response is to call a meeting with the ambassador of that nation to express their disdain, discuss things. Well, that won't be possible. He has already barred Sir Kim from attending a diplomatic dinner, but the US have apparently reassured the British Foreign Office that this is a one-off. Perhaps those US diplomats think that it will all blow over once the president finds something else to be upset about, or perhaps they are taking the view that the ambassador might be recalled by the new Prime Minister before any other diplomatic events, and therefore it won't be an ongoing issue. Though, as I noted yesterday, Jeremy Hunt, who is one of the candidates for Prime Minister, has backed the ambassador and also offered his support in a personal message. Though, of course, Hunt is not favourite to become the next PM, and Boris Johnson has not said that he backs the government's current support for him. Something not lost on even Trump, who has hinted at action when the new Prime Minister comes in. He also said that, although he enjoyed his visit to the UK last month, it was really the Queen he was impressed with. Little barb at Theresa May there. There are other ambassadorial duties, of course, but if you remove the potential for ambassadorial meetings with senior diplomats or the President himself, then you cut off a commonly used area of diplomatic dialogue between the UK and the US. And there may be some, and fair enough, you look at this story in isolation and you think, actually, it's not unreasonable to expect that the ambassador should be recalled and another one installed due to the offending memo, regardless of whose fault it was that the contents became known. The thing is, though, that ambassadors saying uncomplimentary things about their professional homes is nothing new, particularly for US ambassadors and especially for US ambassadors that Donald Trump has appointed. For example, the US ambassador to Germany offended the country on the same day as Trump appointed him by discussing the way they were dealing with Iran. The US ambassador to the Netherlands also upset the Dutch by claiming the place to be overrun with Muslim type thing, the similar sort of rhetoric that Trump used regarding London. And let's not forget that the US ambassador to the UK itself was saying things like that we should sell off our NHS and all sorts of other things that are not generally going to be taken all that well in this country. As for Donald Trump himself, he has called no end of political leaders or even entire countries stupid. And he hasn't done it in private memos that have just come to light. He's tweeted about it. He's said about it. He threw sweets at the German Chancellor, for goodness sake. Neither he nor his ambassadors have ever been made to resign, only apologise, something that the British have done to the Americans as a result of this memo. Trump himself, of course, has never apologised. And true to form, he has been calling Sir Kim stupid and then moved on to Theresa May, the Prime Minister, when she backed him. He's just like a spoilt brat who kicks the mother when she won't let him have his toys until they've done their chores. Trump has been attacking May for the Brexit strategy that he was praising just a few weeks ago. Not that I'm taking exception to his criticism of her Brexit dealings. It's just the fact that he's only doing it out of spite because he'd previously praised them. He can't get his own way, so he lashes out. And people take offence at that Trump blimp. It's exactly who he is. In fact, in a cheeky little counterpunch, a Downing Street spokesman alluded to Trump's statement in the UK where he said that May had brought the negotiations up to a very good point and that the Prime Minister deserved a lot of credit. The spokesman then added, as you know, nothing further has happened in the Brexit negotiations since then. So it's not like she was doing well up to a point and then has cocked it up. I wonder what Theresa May thinks of her pointless attempts to sacrifice her dignity in order to get onto good terms with Trump now. It's actually an interesting lesson for anyone wanting to have dealings with him. You can butter him up all you like and make him purr on cue. The instant you do or say something that he doesn't like, he will turn on you. He also reportedly holds grudges, so it's not like you can necessarily just leave him to pout in a corner for a bit and then turn on the charm again and have him behaving once more. Theresa May, unsurprisingly, is holding firm and continuing to back Sir Kim. Why do I say unsurprisingly? Because she's not got long left as Prime Minister and has already been acting with a bit of backbone ever since she resigned. I'm not sure she'd have taken the same line had she been a safe Prime Minister, and I'm not sure that the new Prime Minister would back our ambassador, I have to say. I'm quite certain that Boris Johnson won't stand up to Trump's bully boy tactics for a second on any issue at all, much less this one. Interesting, Trump did say that he didn't know Sir Kim, but he was told he was a pompous fool. Well, Sir Kim himself seems to think he's met the president half a dozen times and was due to visit the White House again next week, although at least on this occasion not to see the president. The ambassador will not now be making that visit. It was apparently the ambassador's decision himself not to go in order to avoid embarrassment, as opposed to Liam Fox, who is the minister who is attending. Who knows though? I don't know. But let's say that the next Prime Minister is Jeremy Hunt and he continues to back our current ambassador to the US. Or let's say Johnson wins and he does the same, but that's a bit of a stretch of the imagination. And let's further say that Trump doesn't forget about it and it doesn't blow over and he keeps up his whining. What would he be prepared to do about it? Now, the president can, of course, order the expulsion of the ambassador, just as he can with any diplomat. The UK would then have no ambassador in the US unless it backs down and appoints another. It would effectively be a break in diplomatic relationships. Would Trump really do that, given that the UK could easily hold its nerve, and he is known for backing down when the other side holds firm? One thing we know from experience is Trump never sees things through to the end against an obstinate opponent. He will blink eventually. It wouldn't necessarily be diplomatically foolish to do either. The memo offended only Trump, not the United States. No one's offended the United States. The US is also gearing up for a war that the UK really doesn't want to get dragged into, would love an excuse not to get dragged into that. And also the US is looking more towards Asia and less towards Europe. So our traditional role in being a bridge between the United States and Europe, which was already on shaky enough ground due to Brexit, that's disintegrating as well. So we're literally at a point where, we like the United States, but we don't need particularly strong diplomatic ties with the president at this point. And there might be a new one to deal with before long. We hope. But as I said yesterday, I really don't see it being tested out. Boris Johnson is favourite to succeed May, and he will do exactly what President Trump tells him to. In fact, Johnson probably wouldn't even hold cabinet meetings as Prime Minister. He'll just follow Trump on Twitter and do exactly what all the tweets tell him to do. So I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe for further content. Until next time, I'll see you later.